Bob Dylan has been awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. In announcing the award, the Swedish Academy said the singer-songwriter had created new poetic expressions within the great American song tradition. Dylan is the first American to be given the award since the novelist Toni Morrison in 1993. Jonah Hull reports.
The Nobel Prize in Literature for 2016 is awarded to Bob Dylan.
Balladeer, folk troubadour, pop star and now Nobel Prize-winning poet. Dylan had appeared on the shortlist before, an unlikely choice for some, to others long overdue.
If one were to lay out the lyrics to Desolation Row or Highway 61 next to The Wasteland, Eliot's Wasteland, you know, you'd have something that is equally kind of dense and illusory and full of electricity and magic. Just, you know, the form is different or the delivery is different.
The answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind.
Dylan's most prominent work was among his earliest. Songs like Blowing in the Wind and The Times They Are A-Changing became anthems of the American anti-war and civil rights movements in the 1960s. His first electric single, Subterranean Homesick Blues, hit the top 40 with themes of drug-taking and the turmoil of the Vietnam War, depicting the emerging counterculture of the age. With dozens of albums and millions of fans, there's hardly an award Bob Dylan hasn't won, including Grammys, a Pulitzer and an Oscar. Now the man who wrote only 3 books ranks alongside names like Steinbeck, Hemingway, Eliot and Yeats, fellow Nobel Prize winners and literary greats. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera.
And we're joined now from Austin, Texas by David Gaines, author of a book called In Dylan Town and a professor of English at Southwestern University in Georgetown. Thanks for being with us on this News Hour. You're a professor of English, so I guess you're the perfect person to tell us, why do you think Bob Dylan deserved this prize?
Well, Felicity, he has such a gift with language, as we know. The longitude of his career, the depth of his career, his ability to write about politics, about love, to write humorously, to be so widely quoted and or paraphrased from the streets of Chicago in 1968 at the Democratic Convention, to Tiananmen Square, to judicial decisions nonstop of the last 10 to 15 years. So he's just a word machine and a gift to all of us.
Not everyone, of course, agrees with you. There has been some criticism of the Academy for awarding this prize to him. Do you understand why some people believe this is almost diluting the honour of the award?
Oh, absolutely. I understand that argument because I teach, and one of the things, and I talk with my colleagues, and one of the ongoing questions is, what is literature with a capital L, that God term? And I understand that people feel that this is not the traditional canon, but to me it's a great, great day. I mean, I'm ecstatic because I think the tent just got a lot larger and a lot more fun. And I love the fact that he's there beside Toni Morrison and Gabriel Garcia Marquez and William Faulkner and people who have given us language that people will be looking at hundreds of years from now.
And I guess in some senses it does help the Nobel Prize and the Academy seem somewhat less elitist. I guess I'm wondering whether the Nobel Academy is actually relevant to, say, young people of today. Maybe this will make it more relevant.
Well, it's an interesting point. I think when I go into class tomorrow morning, I will ask how many people know what the Nobel Prize is. And we'll go from there, you know, to see. But I don't think, I don't know, I was asked by someone else today, why do you think now? And I think I'm in that long overdue camp, to quote your previous story. I think he's always been a tremendous literary figure. I think we just have to think about literature and text as films, as music, as sermons as we used to, as public speeches. So to me, this fits, but I do understand that people agree to disagree on that.
Any other songwriters who you are a fan of who you think might deserve the prize in the future, or is Bob Dylan the only one?
I don't think anyone is quite at his level of importance and staying power and magnitude. I really don't. I love Springsteen and Cohen and Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon, Van Morrison, but I also love Melville, and I love Toni Morrison. I know Melville didn't win a Nobel Prize, but I love Toni Morrison. I love Faulkner. I think Bob Dylan is, to me, more of a peer, more of the equivalent of those people than he is of a lot of the terrific performers and writers and people who are very important to me, but I just think he is at just a whole other level.
As you say, a great day for you. David Gaines, good to have you with us on the show. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you.